Hey, howdy, hello. This is Tanya the tour guide bringing you another episode of New Orleans Secret Myths. We're going to again be diving into legends and lores of New Orleans and the surrounding areas. The curse that crawled from medieval France into Louisiana Bayou, the Rougarou. In South Louisiana, the darkness is not empty. It breathes, it sweats, it moves between the cypress trees, where Spanish moss hangs like mourning veils, and the black water keeps secrets older than the roads. Parents in the bayous did not always need Dracula. They did not need the boogeyman. They had something closer, something local, something that knew the ditches behind the house, the cane fields past the porch, the thin footpaths leading too far from home. They had the Rougarou, a once human creature, a cursed thing, a wolf-like beast that walks upright on two legs, 7, maybe 8 feet tall, covered in hair, with eyes that shine in the dark. And if you were a child who stayed out past curfew, if you wandered too far from the porch light, if you disobeyed your mama, your papa, or your grandmère, then somewhere in the swamp, the Rougarou was listening, and it was hungry. But the Rougarou is more than just a monster story. It's a French legend, a Cajun warning, a survival lesson. A bayou shapeshifter born from the exile, fear, faith, family, and the dark imagination of a people who carried old world folklore into one of the strangest landscapes in America. Tonight, we follow the Rougarou back through time, from medieval France to Acadian exile to the swamps of Louisiana to children's bedrooms, hunting camps, Mardi Gras masks, cryptid festivals, television monsters, and a modern Cajun identity. Because the Rougarou may not be real, but in Louisiana folklore, real is not always the point. Before the Rougarou became a cryptid, a festival mascot, a roller coaster name, or a pop culture monster, it lived in the most powerful place a folklore can live, inside the warning voice of a parent. In Louisiana Bayou country, especially in Cajun and Creole communities, the Rougarou was often used to discipline children. Don't go into the woods. Don't stay out after dark. Don't misbehave. Don't disrespect your elders. Don't break religious rules. Don't wander near the water, because the Rougarou will get you. The creature is commonly described as a shapeshifter, half human and half beast, appearing most often at night. Louisiana folkloric descriptions often give it the body of a person with the head or features of a dog or a wolf. Some versions make it more monstrous, towering, hairy, and terrifying. Others make it closer to a cursed human forced into animal form. And that matters. Because the Rougarou is not simply an animal. It is not just a wolf. It is a human being punished. That is what makes it frightening. The Rougarou is not the beast outside civilization. It is civilization gone wrong. A neighbor, a sinner, a cursed Catholic. A man or woman who violated some sacred rule and now prowls the night trying to pass the curse to someone else. In some versions, the Rougarou wants blood. In others, it wants release. And in many stories, the only thing standing between your house and the creature is a little folk magic. 13 pennies, 13 rocks, 13 beans, placed by door or windowsill, because the Rougarou, poor cursed thing, cannot count past 12. It will see the objects, It will begin counting 1, 2, 3, all the way to 12, then confusion. It starts over. Again, 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 until dawn rises over the swamp and the monster is forced to flee. That image is almost funny. A terrifying swamp beast defeated by arithmetic. But that is exactly how folklore works. A monster must be frightening enough to control behavior, but familiar enough to belong to the people who tell the tale. The Rougarou is horrifying, but it is also Cajun. It belongs to the porch, the kitchen, the marsh, the hunting camp, the churchyard, the family warning. It is not imported Halloween. It is homegrown fear. To understand the Rougarou, we have to begin with the name. The older French term is loup-garou. Loup means wolf. Garou refers to a person transformed into a wolf-like creature. Together, loup-garou means werewolf. Over time, in Louisiana French and Cajun speech, loup-garou became rougarou. Folklorist Jean Ancelet has explained that in Cajun Louisiana, L and R sounds can shift or trade places in speech, which helps explain how loup-garou became rougarou. So the Rougarou is not disconnected from Europe. It is the Louisiana descendant of an old French werewolf, but it did not remain unchanged. Folklore travels like people do. It adapts, it loses pieces, it absorbs new fears, it learns new geography. A wolf legend brought across the Atlantic becomes something different when it enters Louisiana. Because Louisiana did not have the same forest of France, it had swamp, cane, mosquitoes, heat, alligators, cypress knees, backwater paths, isolated settlements, Catholic households, Acadian memory, Creole storytelling, African, French, Spanish, indigenous, Caribbean, and American influences all layered together. The loup-garou crossed the ocean as a werewolf, but in Louisiana it becomes something wetter, something darker, something could rise out of the bayou, the Rougarou. The French loup-garou belongs to much older European werewolf tradition. In medieval and early modern Europe, werewolf beliefs were not just children's stories. They were bound up with religion, punishment, sin, exile, wilderness, and a fear of the outsider. Parts of France's old werewolf lore held that people could become loup-garous through spiritual failure. Some traditions claimed an excommunicated person could become a werewolf for a term of years. Others connected the curse to failing to confess, refusing religious correction, or neglecting sacred obligations. The quote you brought in from Montague Summers, later cited by Nathan J. Rabelais, captures the world perfectly. The werewolf curse could fall on someone denounced from the altar, excommunicated, or spiritually unclean. That religious punishment theme survives strongly in Louisiana and French North American versions. In French-Canadian loup-garou traditions, one common belief held that someone who failed to receive Easter sacraments or attend religious duties for 7 years could become a loup-garou. The curse could last for 101 days, and release often required drawing blood or passing the curse onward. This is crucial. The loup-garou was not always bitten by another werewolf like in Hollywood. Sometimes the person became a monster because they broke the moral order. They did not confess, they did not repent, they did not obey the church, they failed the community, and the punishment was transformation. The human body became the visible sign of hidden sin. By daylight, the cursed person might still appear ordinary, a farmer, a father, a neighbor, a man sitting behind you at Mass, but by night the truth came out. This is where the Rougarou becomes more than a creature. It becomes a warning that what you do in secret will eventually grow teeth. The Rougarou's journey to Louisiana cannot be separated from the history of the Acadians. The Acadians were French-speaking settlers in what is now Atlantic Canada, especially Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and surrounding regions. In the mid-18th century, during imperial conflict between Britain and France, the Acadians were forcibly removed from their homes in what is known as the Grand Derangement, the Great Upheaval. Families were separated, communities were scattered, some were sent to British colonies, some to France, some to the Caribbean, some eventually came to Louisiana. And with them came language, foodways, Catholic tradition, music, farming knowledge, fishing culture, and stories. Among those stories, the Loup-Garou. When Acadian descendants became Cajuns in Louisiana, their folklore adapted to the new land. The wolf of old France and French Canada entered the swamps of South Louisiana, and in the bayou, the monster changed. The Rougarou was not only a werewolf, it was a swamp guardian, a curfew enforcer, a Catholic cautionary tale, a warning about wilderness, a creature that belonged to cane fields, levees, marsh edges, and the black line of the trees beyond the house. The Louisiana Rougarou, shaped by place. In Europe, werewolves often belong to the forest. In Louisiana, the Rougarou belongs to the swamp. That matters because the swamp is not just scenery. It is danger, livelihood, food, isolation, memory. It is the place where children could drown, hunters could vanish, boats could disappear, and strangers could move unseen. A bayou monster teaches boundaries. Don't go near the water after dark. Don't walk alone. Don't wander into the marsh. Don't leave the safety of family. In rural communities, folklore often functions as protection. The Rougarou story helped keep children close to home and warn them away from dangerous places. Modern Louisiana explanations still describe it as a monster used by Cajun parents to keep children in line. But the Rougarou also policed morality. Some versions said you could become a Rougarou by breaking Lent. Others said by being cursed. Others said by looking one in the eye. Others said by being bitten. Others said witches could cause it. The point was not consistency, the point was fear. Folklore does not need one official rule book. It needs enough uncertainty to make you careful. Because if no one agrees exactly how the curse works, then everything becomes dangerous. Did you break Lent? Did you mock the old ways? Did you look too long into the wrong eyes? Did you wander too far? Did you hear something breathing behind you? Then maybe the Rougarou is already close. Ask 10 people what the Rougarou looks like, and you may get 10 different answers. That is part of its power. Some say it was a human body and a wolf head. Some said dog head. Some say glowing red eyes. Some said his skin hangs wrong. Some say it walks like a man but moves like an animal. Some say it is tall enough to look into windows, 7 feet, 8 feet, sometimes more. Some describe it as a hairy and muscular, others as thin, cursed, almost corpse-like. In wider Louisiana folklore, Rougarou figures may be described with traits of dogs, birds, owls, or humans, showing that the creature is not locked into one standardized form. That flexibility makes it scarier. A monster with one shape can be recognized. A shapeshifter can hide. The Rougarou may not look like a wolf at first. It may look like someone you know. It may look like a man walking strangely down a road, a hunched figure near the ditch, a dog standing too upright, a shadow with eyes. And then, by the time your mind understands what it is seeing, it is already too late. So, how does one become a Rougarou? There are several answers, and each answer reveals something about Louisiana culture. Version 1: Religious punishment. In Catholic versions, the Rougarou curses religious neglect, break Lent, failed confession, ignored sacred obligations, disrespect the church, become beast. This echoes French and French Canadian Loup-garou traditions that tied werewolf transportation to missing Easter sacraments or failing religious duties for a set number of years. This is the Rougarou as Catholic nightmare. The soul fails, the body changes. Version 2: The bite. In another version, the Rougarou is cursed until it passes the condition to someone else. To become human again, it must bite a person, draw blood, and transfer the curse. Louisiana folklore sources describe the Rougarou as seeking release by biting or drawing blood from a victim, who then becomes the next Rougarou. Folklorists recognize this as a broader French-speaking motif of disenchantment through drawing blood. This makes the Rougarou tragic. It attacks not only because it is evil, but because it wants it out. Version 3: The 101 Days. Some versions say the curse lasts 101 days. After that, the cursed person may become human again if they pass the curse on. The number appears in French North American Loup-garou traditions as well, where the cursed person transforms nightly for a set term. Version 4: The Witch. In some Louisiana tellings, a witch can curse someone into becoming Rougarou, or reverse the curse. That adds another layer of folk belief, one where Catholic fear blends with folk magic, healing women, traders, root work, and local spiritual power. Version 5: The Eye Contact. Some say if you look a Rougarou in the eyes, you may inherit the curse. That one is especially chilling, because it turns witness into danger. To see the monster is to risk becoming it. Every monster needs a weakness. For vampires, stakes. For werewolves, silver. For the Rougarou, one of the most dangerous protections is much stranger. 13 small objects, pennies, rocks, beans, laid across the doorstep, windowsill, or entrance. The Rougarou sees them and must count. Again, count past 12, so it counts again and again until sunrise breaks the spell. The 13 object protection is one of the most repeated modern Rougarou traditions and is still widely described in Louisiana folklore articles and local storytelling. But there are other protections. Stay inside, obey your elders, keep your faith, don't break Lent, don't wander, don't invite evil in, do not mock the old stories, and in darker versions, decapitation. Some tellings borrow from broader monster killing traditions. If the curse cannot be broken, the monster must be destroyed. But the most Louisiana solution is not violence, it's cleverness. 13 pennies, a little superstition, a little math, a little folk magic on the porch. The Rougarou belongs to family storytelling. Imagine a child in bayou country, restless at dark. The adults are busy, the road is quiet, the swamp is close, the child wants to run. And then comes the warning. Don't go out there, the Rougarou will get you. That sentence did several things at once. It scared the child, it protected the child, it taught obedience, it connected the child to Cajun identity, it passed the old language forward. It turned landscape into memory. This is how folklore survives. Not because someone writes it down first, but because someone says it at the right moment, at dusk, on a porch, when the frogs start singing and the tree line turns black. The Rougarou was a monster, yes, but it also was a parenting tool, a cultural inheritance, a way of saying the land is beautiful, but it is dangerous. Respect it. The Rougarou's strongest historical roots are tied to Catholic moral order. That does not mean every Rougarou story is strictly religious. Many are not. But the deeper structure is there. Sin becomes visible, disobedience becomes animal, isolation becomes punishment. In older French and French Canadian versions, the loup-garou often punished those who failed their religious obligations. In Louisiana, similar themes survived in warnings about Lent, confession, and moral behavior. The Rougarou is what happens when the human begins falling outside the sacred circle, and that is why it is so often stuck between worlds, human and animal, home and swamp, day and night, Catholic warning and folk magic, fear and comedy, monster and neighbor. The Rougarou is terrifying because it asks, what if the beast is not outside us? What if it is what we become when we break faith with our people? Louisiana folklore is never one single stream. It is a confluence: French, Acadian, Creole, African, Spanish, Indigenous, Caribbean, Catholic, folk magic, rural, urban. The Rougarou enters this world and becomes part of that blend. Nathan J. Rabelais' work on the French and Creole Louisiana folklore examines how Louisiana's diverse cultural groups shape folk characters and motifs from the 18th and 19th centuries forward. That matters because the Rougarou is not just imported French folklore, it is Louisiana folklore. It's absorbed Louisiana's geography, language, food culture, Catholic rhythms, swamp dangers, and community anxieties. The old French loup-garou may have begun as a werewolf, but the Rougarou became a bayou creature. The monster changed because the people changed, and the people changed because history forced them to. Exile, migration, colonization, survival, poverty, faith, family. The Rougarou is a monster made of all of that. Now we enter the question people most love. Has anyone seen it? Across South Louisiana, people claim strange encounters: a figure near the road, a beast in the brush, a dog-like shape moving upright, eyes glowing at the edge of the woods, a thing too tall to be human, too human to be animal. These accounts are usually difficult to verify. That is the nature of cryptid folklore. But verification is not the only reason stories matter. Sightings keep folklore alive. A monster that only belonged to old people's stories eventually fades. But a monster someone's cousin saw near the camp, a monster someone's uncle swears crossed the road, a monster a hunter heard breathing outside the blind, that monster survives. The Rougarou lives in the space between belief and performance. Some people laugh, some people swear, some people say, I don't believe in it, then pause. But I wouldn't go out there alone. That pause is where the Rougarou lives. Today, the Rougarou is everywhere. It is no longer only whispered to children. It appears in festivals, television, books, comics, theme park, and tourist storytelling. Homa and Terrebonne have embraced the Rougarou as a symbol of bayou folklore and cultural identity. Recent travel writing describes Homa's Rougarou-centered festival culture as part of the region's mix of Cajun food, folklore, swamp life, and local pride. That creature has appeared in pop culture, including Supernatural, NCIS New Orleans, comics, and even the Harry Potter universe, where Rougarou hair is mentioned as a wand core. And then there is Cedar Point's Rougarou roller coaster in Ohio. A Louisiana swamp werewolf turned into an amusement park ride. That is strange, but it also proves something. The Rougarou travels well. Just like the loup-garou did, from France to Canada, from Canada to Louisiana, from Louisiana television, from the bayou to roller coaster steel, the monster keeps changing shape, which is exactly what a shapeshifter should do. So why does the story survive? Why does the Rougarou still have power? Because it carries many fears at once. Fear of the dark, fear of the swamp, fear of punishment, fear of sin, fear of exile, fear of losing control, fear that the neighbor you know by daylight might become something else by night. But it also carries belonging. To tell the Rougarou story is to say, it comes from a place with its own monsters. Not borrowed monsters, not plastic Halloween monsters, ours. A swamp werewolf with the Cajun name. A creature that knows our roads, our porches, our bayous, our church bells, our children. The Rougarou is not just fear, it is identity. It is a language. It is a family memory. It is a warning wrapped in fur and teeth. It reminds us that folklore is not dead. It waits at the edge of the yard, just beyond the porch light. The Rougarou began as the Loup-garou, the French werewolf, a cursed soul, a punished sinner, a creature of exile, faith, and fear. But Louisiana made it its own. The bayou gave it mud. The Cajuns gave it a voice. Parents gave it a purpose. Children gave it nightmares. And generations gave it life. Maybe the Rougarou is only a story. Maybe it always just a way to keep children from wandering too far. But in South Louisiana, stories have weight. They settle into the land. They cling to the moss. They move through family lines. And sometimes, late at night, when the swamp goes quiet and the dogs refuse to bark, a story can feel very much alive. So place your 13 pennies by the door, say your prayers, come home before dark, and whatever you do not look too long into the eyes watching from the trees. Because if the old people were right, the Rougarou is not looking for dinner, it is looking for someone to take its place. Thank you for listening. I'm Tanya the tour guide, and this has been New Orleans Secret Miss. Good night, stay close to the light, and don't forget to line those pennies by your doorstep.